together. So by the time they actually had a chance to get to game time, they were very familiar with one another, perhaps too familiar for Peyton Manning, who received his first penalty flag of his career for taunting. Consider that after he exchanged a few words with Texans safety DJ Swearinger.
NFL is the NFL. I mean, the rules are the rules. I led with my shoulder. That's the only thing I could do. I mean, he's a short guy. I mean, I led with my shoulder. And, I mean, the results were the results, and that's all I could do on that play. Peyton was mad. He gave me some choice words before, that on that play. And then, he just came and, said something to me afterwards, some choice words. But, I leave it at that. Peyton say what he want to say, man. It really doesn't matter. All that I care about is the W.
Concerned about West and, never like seeing him coming out of the game, with a potential blow to the head. He had, one of those last year that, kept him out for a while. So I was concerned about him. And, 15 yards with 5 seconds left in the half. It can't hurt you that much, right?
Texan safety DJ Swearinger hit Welker in the head with his shoulders as Welker put his head down to catch the ball. Welker diagnosed with his third concussion within the year. Skip Bayless, whose side are you on?
Stephen A. Smith, I am completely on DJ Swearinger's side, on Bill O'Brien's side on this. And I thought Peyton Manning was not only out of bounds, but obviously way, way out of character to run all the way to the end zone after his get-even touchdown pass from 29 yards on the next play and give Swearinger a face-to-face piece of his mind. I did not get that, and I was a little embarrassed for Peyton in that regard. DJ Swearinger's hit was not dirty. It was not a cheap shot, and I have no idea, just me, I have no idea how you can penalize him for that hit. Because remember, Wes Welker is so quick and so small, they list him at 5'9", I'm not sure he's 5'8",
right.
That at the last split second, as he often does, he ducked his head into a dangerous spot. And so DJ Swearinger wasn't aiming to hit him in the head. DJ Swearinger got him with obviously his shoulder and his forearm because I don't know what else he could have hit him with. Unless he tried to avoid a collision, unless he tried not to tackle Wes Welker, I don't know what else he could have done to avoid hitting Wes Welker in the head. And I'm here to tell you, the running backs now have a rule that they can't lead with their head. Well, maybe Wes Welker needs to have that rule applied to him just to save him from himself, because DJ Swearinger wasn't head hunting. He didn't try to give him a concussion. Wes Welker put his head in harm's way. At the last split second, I don't know what else DJ Swearinger could have done as a football player. Again, if they want to play touch, that's fine. Let's just rule it a touch football game. But it's still tackled the last time I looked, and I thought that was a clean hit, even by the new interpretation of the rules.
Well, I'm incredibly disappointed with your position because I completely agree with you, and I thought that you were going to be foolish enough to sit there and say Peyton Manning had a point. That's what I was coming in here looking forward to this morning. I really thought that you were going to be foolish enough to say that Peyton Manning was absolutely in the right. And clearly DJ Swearinger was absolutely in the right, and I couldn't agree with you more. He did not lead with his helmet or his head. He leaned with his shoulder, and on top of it all, Wes Welker is a miniature receiver, not to mention the fact that he sort of, scringed a little bit and ducked and what have you. I thought it was a perfectly legitimate hit. I thought that the foul called, the penalty called against Swearinger was not legit at all.
Thank you.
But I will tell you this. Here's what I do like about it. I like three things about it. Number one, I like the fact that Peyton got in somebody's face. It's good to see him that fiery, because
that was the first time.
He's just a paragon of virtue for crying out loud. The first penalty, please, first unsportsmanlike penalty is unbelievable. It was good to see. The flip side to it, however, is that I think that watching Wes Welker suffer that concussion and Peyton being so sensitive to it, it just epitomizes why they're not the Super Bowl champions right now. The Denver Broncos offensively are a relatively soft team. Now, I'm not going to accuse Demaryius Thomas or Julius Thomas of being that way, but when you are suffering from absentee status because we couldn't find you, well, Demaryius Thomas showed up. We couldn't find the Eric Deckers of the world who's now in New York. We couldn't find Wes Welker and guys like that. You just see when Peyton reacts that way, it's just a message to defenders around the league. If you get physical with the Broncos, you can rattle them. That's point number 2. But point number 3 is that the media, the fourth estate, that's usually front and center on a bevy of issues, if not practically all of them, needs to be front and center on this one. We need to come to the defense of defensive players in the NFL. Yes, we want to see more offense. We want to see excitement. We want to be entertained. All of those things are true. But we don't want it to occur at the expense of flagrant unfairness to defensive players in the NFL. To call a penalty against DJ Swearinger for a hit like that, you're essentially, you're jeopardizing the NFL as we know it terms of, what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Basically what the NFL is saying is, we want you to tackle people, but we don't want you to hit them.
Okay.
Wrap your arms around them and get them to the ground, but gently.
Yeah.
Make sure. It's tantamount to just picking a baby up and placing them in a crib. That's what the NFL appears to want an NFL football field to be, like a crib. Just grab the baby, the offensive player, and just lay them down gently, and don't harm them. This is what you're preaching when you penalize a defender for making that kind of hit.
As you've made the case many times on the show, they do have long-term liabilities, legal liabilities that they need to now be aware of, more aware of. But to Peyton's credit here, I want to point out these teams, as you pointed out to start off this question, they did practice against each other. And on Wednesday, in an 11-on-11 drill, Peyton was intercepted by DJ Swearinger, and Peyton seemed to believe that DJ celebrated a little too loudly and proudly, just a little bit too loudly and proudly for Peyton's taste at this point in Peyton's career and at this point in this young man's career. So I think he was a little raw from that still. And I got to give Peyton props for one thing. It was big time to get upset about Welker, and on the very next play, call the play that you thought would burn that defense for a touchdown, and he pumps left and then goes right to Emmanuel Sanders, who looks like he's poised to have a monster year with Peyton.
Yes, he is. He looked pretty damn good.
All right, but he made a heck of a catch on a heck of a throw for a touchdown, which allowed Peyton then to run the 35 yards or what it was from the pocket to get in Swearinger's face. I give Peyton that because that was like, hey, watch this.
Respect me.
Yeah. So I give you that. But
everybody respects Peyton Manning, and he's one of the greatest of all time, and he's class personified. So anything that would deviate from that will raise a few eyebrows. But in the end, I think more paramount than anything else is that this is Wes Welker's, third concussion?
Yes, within
a year, and he's a guy that, listen, me, I'm a fan of Wes Welker. I didn't want to see him leave New England. I thought New England should have taken care of him. I certainly felt more for him than Danny Amendola, who I respect in terms of his skill, but has no durability whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. But in the end, when you get stomped, beat down, and punked, the way that the Denver Broncos bum rushed.
Thank you.
The got bum rushed in the Super Bowl by Seattle.
Yep.
In a preseason game, you take a hit and you're reacting like that for something that was clearly legal in my mind. I'm telling you right now, that's a bad sign for the Denver Broncos, because if I'm a defender in the NFL, I'm looking at the Denver Broncos and I'm saying, this is how you play them. Because Peyton Manning is too elite. The way to rattle him is to rattle his receivers.
Okay. Now, last quick point, just to remind Peyton of this. Little Wes Welker is not exactly a little angel when it comes to some hits that he initiated. Do I have to remind people about the AFC Championship game?
Roll the video, please.
Can we see it,
please?
Just for
there it is.
Okay.
Stop it.
And what did Bill Belichick, the great Bill Belichick, say right after the game?
Issue.
It was a deliberate play by the receiver to take out Aqib Talib. He also said it was one of the worst plays I've ever seen. Bill Belichick.
But in America, on national television, you have somewhat, regardless of what you may believe, Skip Bayless, you do have an obligation to be completely forthcoming. Yes, the play is accurate that you pointed out, but you're pointing it out because you're still sour over the fact that New England lost the AFC Championship game.
I'm very wrong. I am. Well, I think it's an objective point.
But
if Peyton's going to defend Little West, if he's going to defend him on this,
it's not objective.
Yes, it is objective.
It's not objective.
Is Wes a little angel here? No, he's not.
Champion, hold
on.
Hold on.
Come on.
We are sitting here on national television to open the show, and for a preseason game and a hit, you are bringing up the AFC Championship.
I am.
And you're going to call that objective?
Yes.
You're call that objective?
Extremely objective.
That's a lie. That is such a lie.
You have to factor in a man's track record of character or lack thereof.
I'm just saying it's not objective. That's all I mean. At least admit that you're not being objective.
If you're over there, well, wait a second. You're not objective either. Who are you bullish on this preseason? The Denver Broncos. Do you think they're going to win the AFC? I think you think they're going to win the AFC. Am I right?
Actually, I haven't made my decision yet.
But you have said before.
Said keep your eyes on the New England Patriots because I might pick them over Denver.
Would it change your opinion if you lost Wes Welker to this potential concussion right now?
Well, no, it wouldn't because he'll be back. It's just a concussion.
Well, you don't know that. I don't know.
He'll be back from the concussion.
Well,
he'll be back.
But you had to bring his character into question. That's all you were doing, objectively.
You have to because he might have hurt his own head going after Aqib Talib. Maybe that subjected him to a potential concussion.
Who knows?
Just for the record.
Okay, just for the record. God. Let's move on, shall we?
Unbelievable.
While Peyton Manning is issuing verbal hits.